Hi, this is Jennifer Timko with Stampin' on the Fly, and I'm here today to show you how I created this gilded snowfall card as part of the holiday release from Newton's Nook Designs. I started with this new Snowfall Stencil from Newton's Nook, and I'm just attaching it to a board with some Night of Navy dark blue cardstock underneath. And I'm using Tombow, the multi-purpose liquid glue, as a way to attach Nuvo Gilding flakes to the cardstock. Now this Tombow glue has the characteristic that it's permanent if you use it right away, but it becomes non-permanent if you let the adhesive dry. So I thought that maybe that would be a fun thing to do with these Nuvo flakes, and sure enough, it worked great. So all I'm doing is putting it on a clear block and using a stipple brush, just pulling up some of the glue and pouncing it onto my stencil, making sure that I have solid coverage so that you get the full impact of the designs from this gorgeous stencil. You don't want to be too heavy-handed, but you do want to make sure that you have full coverage. You could get a similar result by using Versamark ink and embossing powder, but I thought it would be fun to try something new with these gilding flakes. The nice part about this is I think almost all of us at this point have this Tombow glue sitting in our craft room somewhere. So it was nice not to have to go buy some more supplies, and I was able to use what I already had on hand. All I'm trying to do here is get full coverage. And then once I get it completely covered, I'm going to want to let the glue dry a little bit, which is good because as soon as I get everything covered here, I'm going to pull the stencil off carefully. You'll see the design underneath, and then I'm going to want to go wash the stencil and my clear block using warm soapy water to get all of the glue residue off before it dries. And that works out great because you need it to dry on the cardstock for a little bit anyway. So by the time you get it all cleaned up, you get your cup of coffee, it's probably going to be right. That's going to depend a little bit on the humidity and the temperature where you live. So if you're in a more humid place, you may want to give it just a little bit of extra time to dry. I did let it dry, and I thought I had let it dry enough, but it was a humid day when I was making this video, so I probably could have let it go just a little bit more. These Nuvo flakes are just light as air, so you do want to make sure you have a Swiffer cloth nearby and be ready because they are gonna go a little bit of everywhere. But I just got a good pinch of them, and a little does go a long way. It doesn't take too much of it. And then cover that container back up so that they don't go everywhere. And you'll see here, it's a little stickier than I would have wanted, and it was just because it was humid in my craft room. But you can adjust, and still it worked perfectly today, so not a big deal. Just using the bits of the flakes, and as they start to break off, you can kind of move the pieces and parts around to get coverage on your stencil. And you're just going to use your finger, and it's really simple. It takes a little bit of patience, but it's not hard. And as you start to move through, you can start to see the details emerging with the gold, and it's so pretty. The only word I can think of to describe it is it has a certain patina to it. It's not the same look as using embossing. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit for you since you don't really need to continue to watch me to do this. But you can see how the snowflakes start to really have their details, and it's beautiful. And just keep coming back with any of your little stray flakes here if you have places where you don't have the coverage that you like, and just burnishing it with your finger as you go along. Once I got this like I wanted, I cut it down using a stitched rectangle die, and then I used the land border dies from Newton's Nook to give it that little curved edge that's on my final card. You can see here I am using the Swiffer to clean off all the extra stuff. For the rest of the card, I used a sentiment from the new Sentiments of the Season stamp set from the same release. I did use Versamark and embossing powder with that, and I found that the gold embossing and the Nuvo Flakes actually worked really nicely together. I think the best part about this card is that it's one that if you sit down and you just stencil out a bunch of them, and then you put all the Nuvo Flakes on at once, you can make a stack of 5, 6 of them at a time. It's beautiful for mailing, it's nice and flat, and it has an elegance to it that'll be gorgeous for your holiday cards. I'm very glad you stopped by today. I very much appreciate you coming, and I hope that I will see you again soon. Have a great day.